Live from the dumpster behind Wendy's where he just banged your mom, it's Dickbag Patrol! Yes, Dickbag Patrol, the world's funniest white man, live and ribbed for your pleasure. Also starring Frauded Ram as the old man.
What did you say?
Get ready to feel the burn deep in your buttocks and in your brain. Prepare to submit yourself to his increasingly perverse commands. Strap yourself in and get your party boobs ready. Looks like you picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue. Now, please welcome the all-knowing, all-seeing master of time, space, and dimension, Dickbag Patrol!
Oh my God.
Oh my God. What a nutty week. So,
a nutty week filled with nutty people.
Nutty nutballs. Yeah, so I hope everybody enjoyed the little, if you didn't, oh shit. Talk for a second, Ram. How are you doing? Let me feign interest in you so that I can distract the audience.
Good evening, everybody. There's Mark just here for the comments. Blackheart Knight, what's going on, dude? PDD, delete funds. Terry, stop the stupidity. Your TV slower than your phone. There you go. Chili's electric manscaper. Hi, Gia. Scott Emma, what's up, Scott? PTW Media, what up? Gene Hunsinger. Ramses. Ron Gross, what's up, pal? Script Cat. Yo, 12, the diet-free zone. Chili is the gift that keeps on giving. Chef, what's going on, Chef? Oh, Gerhardt was in here early. I popped in early to see what was going on. He was in there early. John Paul McKenna. Sir John Paul.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to find this thing.
You want me to pull it up?
No. Oh, fuck it. God damn. What an anticlimactic. I'll just share the fucking screen. I was trying to pull the actual picture up, and then I forgot what I named it, and then just like everything went downhill from there. Yeah. Hey, Liz, I got your email. Thanks for that.
Hi, Liz.
Liz
Guilty
is
angel.
Helpful little critter. She
Miss Tom.
Share screen. Okay. Oh, yeah, I hope everybody is doing good.
McSnitchy.
What I was trying to pull up, if you didn't see it prior to the stream, was my little I did some digging and found a picture of one of Chili's relatives, oddly enough, his great-grandfather. That would be Ramon Isidora de Castro. Oddly enough, also a constitutional law scholar, sometime in the 1800s. Very interesting. He used to travel from town to town with his little cart. I believe his enterprise was called Abolish Laws. And he used to go from town to town. Usually he'd get run out of town after annoying the populace. And I believe I'm still digging into it, but I believe he did some jail time for threatening a judge by telegram. So that's very interesting. Such a rich history.
Was that Judge Roy Bean by chance?
Yeah, I have to, as I said, I haven't researched the whole thing yet, but yeah, I thought that actually.
Stop the stupidity. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
Yes, thank you very much. I did that photo. I don't know if
maybe last live stream or the one before, the idea of doing chili is in an old-timey photo came up for some reason, amused me. So I decided to, and then I started thinking about it, maybe we can come up with a whole backstory for this relative and make a little video out of it. That might be kind of fun. Couldn't you see chili back in the 1800s? His little snake oil cart.
No, but Chef just gave us the word of the night.
What's that?
Dagnabbit.
Dagnabbit, yes. That's the other thing. I do like that old-timey.
Hey, MSG, retire. Oh, dagnabbit.
Hey, MSG, what's up, man?
Jolie.
Hey, I really enjoyed your video, Master Sergeant, where you went to the what was it, Wheels Through Time, the place in was it North Carolina? Very cool stuff. If you haven't seen, MSG has a 2 channels. He has the Stolen Valor stuff, and then he has some stuff to do with his bike racing, which is he's fanatical about that. And he went to a very cool museum. I believe it was North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong, MSG. Really amazing collection. It's like the ultimate collection of motorcycles throughout the years. I doubt you could get one better than that. It's like really, really cool stuff. And they even fired up a couple of the bikes. Yeah, there you go, Maggie Valley, North Carolina. But yeah, I do. Can you put the name of your other channel in there? It's like Racing 388 or something like that, Master Sergeant. So people definitely check it out. It's one of those kind of things, even if you're, not necessarily riding your Harley on the weekends or that interested in bikes, is very, very cool stuff. So, yeah. And well, looky what we got here. Very, very cool stuff. Pat, can you turn down the volume on your...
Got an echo.
Okay, how's that?
I think that's good.
Good evening,
no,
Sir Patrick.
I can still hear you. Do you have headphones by any chance?
No.
Okay.
I'm learning though.
Okay, it's gonna continue with that echo. Actually, if you go to, what is it, settings, and audio, there should be an echo cancellation button. Give us 1 second, folks.
All right, I just pressed it.
Okay. And there we go. Look at how easy that was. How are you, sir?
Well, it's a hell of a day. I just finished a pretrial order, and I'm mentally kind of blitzed at the moment. But I was able to get a few. This StreamYard thing has made doing videos so fast compared to Zoom that I don't really spend the time I used to spend on it. And but anyway, mentally kind of tired right now, I have to admit. Been a pretty heavy week.
Gotcha. I don't know if you saw or even wish to respond to Merb's response to your proposal. I got a couple of things to say about it personally.
Yeah, let me hear you guys, because have
you seen it?
I thought I was actually solving the problem, because
yeah, you have to know Merb.
The things he said are when it comes to his legal insight on stuff, I've generally agreed with him on a lot of things. But, for example, he says, if you monetize your channel, I'm like, dude, I've made $1,100 on this thing in 2 years. Okay. It cost me more to do one video than this thing could ever make. All right. And then I donate the money to charities. Okay. And he said, well, you're going to show your tax returns? No, I'm not going to show my tax returns. Why do I need to do that? Why can't I just send money? Okay. And then the super chat, I thought, well, okay, I've never done the super chat. I don't give a shit about the money. I'll just give that away too. And it seemed to draw a complaint from him. And then he kept pronouncing my name like duh RC. Like first of all, dude, this is the name I was given. Okay. So what's the point of making fun of it?
This is Merb.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't wear Van Heusen shirts. Okay. They outlawed those in 1970. All right.
Yikes.
Someone looking at me would think I was a lawyer. Okay. Right. And at least I have an office. I don't know. Maybe he does. I don't know. I only see him in his car. And then I'm going to have to go on a trial and argue with a lawyer. Dude, I've had 34 trials. Okay. Arguing with lawyers is part of the thing. I don't know. I'm not going to respond tit for tat for this guy, but I was kind of blown away.
That's what he wants. Yeah. The best thing you can do is just ignore him. That's what he wants.
As far as I'm concerned now, he's invisible. I'm not even going to listen to anything he has to say. I'm going to do what he does with me. I treat people as they treat me. So I had subscribed to his channel. I'm probably just going to unsubscribe because I don't really give a shit now. There were so many other ways you could handle it. Oh, hey, Pat, I don't want you in this thing because you're a lawyer and I want a retired judge. I know what he said, but retired judges are also lawyers, okay? And then he said, well, you're biased. I'm not biased. I said I would be completely neutral. I'm saying, in fact, that's the difference between, making just snap judgments. I said, as a former prosecutor, and I don't know that he ever was one, so I have some expertise in this, that I have never seen that charge ever brought, ever. And there's a reason for it, because under 653F, the penal code makes solicitation a crime for serious felonies, strike offenses, and things like that. Something I would know something about, okay? So I was trying to be neutral and being neutral by saying, I look forward to what Mr. Eline has to say about this. That's as neutral as you can get. And because it's not the law, how else can I say it? I can't say you're going to lose. I'm going to say, give me your best shot. I'll give you 20 pages and 15 more to make your arguments. I just want them compliant with California rules of court. I'm assuming Merb knows what that's all about. Trial lawyers know that, and he's having a trial, so he would obviously know what I was talking about. I didn't want, a mishmash of, kind of like, I wanted structure to it. And that's why I had all that stuff in there. Now, maybe that would turn him off, but that would be an easy day for me as a trial lawyer to only have to comply with that. And as far as the $5,000, believe me, it's going to cost me more than $5,000 to deal with this. I'm going to issue an opinion. I was going to, and the opinion would be a testament to whether or not I knew what I was talking about. And most likely it would include cases that they didn't find. So, I wasn't expecting to get blasted for it, but I have a feeling this is what he does. Okay. Because it's not, to me, a normal reaction. It's not. And, the whole structure that he took, he says, you don't know Colin? I don't know Colin. Okay. I don't know Project Constitution. I did receive an email inquiry from him maybe about a week or so ago, but I didn't know who the guy is. I've never spoken to him. And he thinks that I'm in some kind of, I don't know, like I have some kind of knowledge about this guy and that we've interacted. The interaction has been one email from him to me, and I didn't even know who the guy was. And believe it or not, Merb, people actually reach out to me. Okay. They do. And I do not use this platform to promote my law firm. Believe me, I am not looking for clients. Okay. And I don't get clients from YouTube. I don't. The clients that call me, they're looking at business litigation cases. Okay. They're looking at real estate cases. And I have plenty of clients that I've got enough work to keep me very busy. This is just fun to do. I like the community that we've established. I like sharing ideas. I could be wrong about something, learn new perspectives. To me, it's cool. And I'm actually learning how to do video editing. I'm getting better, right?
Yep.
So, not at your level, but good enough to pass. So,
yeah.
Merb can have his opinion. It's okay. God bless you. Stay the angry, uptight dude that you are. I love you for it. But, you and I have nothing more to talk about. Okay.
Yeah, it was an odd response, and I won't. I don't know how many of the audience have seen it. I won't subject you to it again, Patrick. So we'll wait, because I got one or two things to say about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in here that are familiar with Merb. This is nothing new.
Yeah. I mean, it was unnecessary and unnecessarily petty, if I just want to sum it up real quickly, and then I can talk about it later in
And
depth.
he feeds off of it.
After Pat's gone. Yeah, I really hate even having somebody just said that Eli declined on his live stream and then he was mouthing off about me on his live stream. It's like, all right, man. I noticed he didn't post any comments on my last video, which that was a habit of his. And again, I never said nothing to the guy. He came over and started being a wise guy on my channel first. I just responded. So I don't like even giving this kind of crap airtime, it's just stupid. It's just like, what's happening? But whatever.
Just here for the comments. He said,
my advice.
The real question is, Pat, do you like me?
But go ahead. I'm interrupting. There's a delay. Go ahead. Sorry. There's a delay.
No, I was laughing at just here for the comments. He said, the real question here is, Pat, do you like mayo? It's a Merv thing.
He said something that was really cool. He said that he was at Carl's Jr. today for the famous, not the Famous Star, whatever.
Yeah.
I was actually at Carl's Jr. I've been eating the Famous Star since the days of high school, when Carl's Jr. was considered more expensive, and it is more expensive than McDonald's. And I actually wanted to treat myself to a Famous Star with cheese. So it is ironic that we both ate at Carl's Jr. today. One more thing I will add to you, Merv. I was part of the group that helped put together Carl Karcher's enterprises and getting them out of bankruptcy. That's the kind of shit that I do. So you could eat there, but I put the deals together.
There you go. It's burger time. Sue Bear, member for 2 months, and Pat's Cats, member for 2 months. Thank you all very much. What's the newest chili phone call? Did I listen to this? Oh, I did. And of course, I've completely forgotten what the heck it was about. So do you guys feel like sitting through that, Pat, or do you want to field some questions from people, or?
Yeah, let me say this. I do not pay for the lawyer awards that I've received. Okay. I don't pay for them. Martindale Hubbell ranked me in the top 5% of all attorneys in California. And that had nothing to do. I didn't pay for that. Super lawyers, it's a coveted award, Merv, because you'll see the big law firms like the one I used to work at. I don't think you've ever worked at a big firm, but the big firm I work at and all the others, that's a designation that they put on their bios, because it's a peer review, and 5% of the lawyers and above get it. So I don't mind.
And it doesn't come with 10 free memberships?
No, you can't buy you can't buy your way in. So he can dismiss it as, no. What law school did he go to anyway? Anybody know? I don't even know his name, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's Merv.
Yeah, I'm only judging, his behavior that I've seen, and I had an interaction with him as well. I called him out in a couple of videos about it, because and somebody else earlier, I think it was Glober Mom. She said she was just making it kind of her expressing her thoughts in one of his comment threads or something, and he blasted her just kind of out of the blue. He went after unclean hands too, which I didn't really appreciate. Look, yeah, I'm sure unclean hands has gotten some things wrong, as have I, I'm sure all of us have. I know Merv has made several videos where he says I got it wrong. So, and he said it right in the video too. I'm a judgy type of person. Yeah, really? Yeah. We didn't notice, buddy.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I have noticed that. You didn't have to tell us that.
Yeah. And, I thought it was kind of funny, him going on and on about his fresh mayonnaise when, he's sitting in his car eating like the least, I'm sure it's delicious and all, but like the least nutritive food-like substance you can get, makes a big point out of saying he's a meat eater and stuff, and he doesn't want a bunch of soy. I'm thinking, well, why didn't you get your wife to make you a sandwich with some of her homemade mayo and carry it in a little cooler or something instead of, I don't know. It was a strange way to open the video.
He strikes me as an intelligent individual. I can see
Yeah.
that he has experience in law, and I don't know why he keeps referring to him as a first-year family law attorney. That's not an area of law that I practice in. Wouldn't want to do it, quite frankly. The lawyers that handle that usually, I mean, I'm under enough stress, and that kind of stuff just doesn't interest me. It's just drama all day. So I can understand why he could be upset, because I don't mind the stress from high pressure, but I wouldn't want the stress from just being, hassled to death over, like, maybe they're fighting over a grandfather clock, and one person's going to spend $2,000 in legal fees. The other guy's going to spend $2,000 legal fees to fight over a clock worth $800. And, that can be kind of maddening, because it's just not what I do. And, if that's what he wants to do, great, let him do it. He strikes me as an intelligent guy, but he just comes off as very abrasive. And that's not a good way to interact with people. If you need to be abrasive with them when there really is no other approach. So I turn up the heat on people only when they really need to have it turned up on them, because it's a difficult way to do business all day, because then you don't want to talk to them. And by the way, he ought to know this. Some clients think that if you've got a lawyer that's brash and is just, trash talking the opposing counsel up and down the hallway outside of court, that you've got a real badass attorney. I'll tell you right now, that is failed advice. I started out that way. And then I realized that all that did was lead to a lot of motions in court, sanction requests, no courtesy extensions for anything. And it just made the litigation more nasty and more personal. And instead of trying to work out a solution, the lawyers just hate each other and they just beat each other up all day. And I found that the best lawyers can be nice to opposing counsel, can be respectful to them, and still win the case. And I like to win by ambush. I like to win. And what I mean by ambush is I don't mind if they even think I'm a little bit slow, or maybe I don't really quite grasp it. I'm just kind of watching and taking it all in so I can set my traps for them later. And, there's the drama has its place, but it's not going to be the normal routine, because it's just not a very good way of lawyering. And judges really hate it. They do.
Yeah, I personally don't appreciate it either. It's just because it's just unwarranted. It's not necessary. Like the same thing. I don't just go on and on about every frauditor and call him a dipshit and this and that. I really make an effort to have something to say before about something before I make a video about it. Have some intelligent points. So, I get I guess I'm a rube, according to Murph. I mean, he just does this. So, I think
that's just him. Yep.
So who cares, really?
And Internet God said that he went to Costco for his law degree. Welcome to Costco. I love you.
Welcome to Costco. I love you. Standing for $5 early in the chilly days, Murph was on Irish Demons chat and made some really offensive comments, somewhat racist comments. I don't have any knowledge of that, but I mean,
let's move on, guys. Yeah, we're giving him too much fuel.
Yeah. He really is. Yeah, I've got the video ready to go from our Nevada judges today.
That's what we're doing.
Are you talking? I thought we'd do that while Patrick's here.
I just did a video on it. Oh, hey, by the way, I know I keep saying not talk about him. He said, well, look at Darcy. He sent out a video. I thought it was hilarious that he sent out a video 2 hours after the hearing. If he was paying attention, looked at the actual description, I was busy working as a lawyer, so I didn't know that the decision had already come out. So I was working on the video, released it, and then was told the decision already came out. That's what happens when you're busy, Merv, okay? I can't just focus on YouTube. I actually do my work, worked on the video, and then realized, well, at least my prediction was right. It wasn't like I waited for the outcome and then, uploaded the video. I just sent it out and then I kind of laughed. I thought that was kind of funny. You know, I was like, okay, whatever. But, you know, I have other things to do than YouTube videos. But anyway, go ahead.
Yep. Art, for $2, did Chili apologize, Pat?
Oh, I'm not going to talk about this at this time. I'm going to wait and see how it goes. So no comment.
There you go. Also, Hank's been a member for 2 months. Appreciate you, Hank. All right, so let's watch this. Let's watch this Orem court thing from today. Have you had a chance to see this yet, Pat?
Well, I uploaded my own video on that today.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. So I have not seen that yet. So should
Just
we?
now.
Which should we play first? This one and then your reaction, or should we just go to your reaction?
Yeah, just go to mine.
Okay, there we go. Killed 2 birds with 1 stone. And that was the one I kept trying to download and it wouldn't cooperate for some reason. So do you have that available, Ram? I'm assuming he's going to fetch it now. Ugh, I've felt irpy all day. It's just nauseous all day. I have a surgery coming up next week. I'm nervous about that. And for $5, RNR911 News says Nevada allows citizens grand jury. Can you bring a how-to video on that?
Patrick, what's the name of the video? Is it a Michael Eline video or your Patrick
was,
Darcy responds to Jose?
It says that I did a review of the 5/23/24 hearing for Chili de Castro. It's the latest video on my channel.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
Yep, I'm coming. Yep, I got it.
Okay.
Just want to make sure I grab the right one. Hold on here. Let me get this pause.
You always want to make sure
presented
you
here.
Right. So, did you understand that question, Pat? Nevada
I'm sorry,
allows,
I got distracted. I was looking at emails and then a phone rang. Go ahead.
Nevada allows citizens grand jury. Can you bring a how-to video on that?
On how to do a grand jury?
Yeah.
I can just tell you. The DA basically picks a jury. There is really no chance for the other side to tell their side of the story. It's just based on what the DA says. And like they said, the old expression is that you can indict a ham sandwich because there is no opposition to it. There is no chance to hear opposing testimony. And it would be very rare to bring an indictment that wouldn't be carried forward, especially under the way the grand jury rules are set up. So it's not the same kind of proceeding that you'd normally see, like you would pick in a jury for a trial where you have back and forth for both sides. This is really the prosecutor going to an impaneled grand jury, telling them what the charging allegations are, and then seeking an indictment.
There you go. Instant law lessons. Here we go with the.
But the citizens don't do that. That comes from the people.
There it is. Oh, thanks, Colleen. Appreciate that.
I think you're talking about posse comitatus, where the citizens band together and they create their own deputized police force. That might be under what's called posse comitatus.
Thanks, Unclean, for the 10 membership. Appreciate you.
All right. I'm looking at myself wearing the same suit.
Yeah.
That's because it was an hour ago.
Inception. All right. Go ahead, Ram.
All right. Here we go.
Obviously listed possibilities. And the judge right away said, well, what if I just strike it in the last 10 pages? That's exactly right. So you could tell that she has a very good impression of Orem because she's nodding her head. She's kind of have a little bit of mischievous smile. She knows him. Obviously, it's a small community. And I think she thinks very highly of him. But when the people do not oppose, that's going to clinch it. there are good reasons not to oppose. So let's first take a look, and then I'll tell you my deductions. Once again, let's give a shout out to our Nevada judges. Please subscribe to their channel and become a member. Do something. You know, like I said, they're the ones putting the film crews out there and covering and uploading it. Without them, we don't see this stuff.
Page 16, state versus DeCastro versus state Nevada, C 381730. Well, you already filed this brief.
Yes,
That's a way of saying that you've already made the mistake or you've already violated a rule. So what are you looking for? You're looking for forgiveness here? I mean, that's exactly my reaction. It's like, let me stop that part there. You just did it. So, but watch her. There's an expression: you either seek permission or you seek forgiveness. If I were to exceed page limits, at least here in California, I would do that with an motion before my filing deadline and get clearance for it and explain the justification, typically granted. But I would not file it. But then this is here in California. Orem was saying that that's what he does for the Supreme Court. I didn't see that was the rule for the appeals to the district court, but I'm not a Nevada lawyer. And her reaction was exactly the reaction I was expecting, which is, you already did this, so what? You're looking for forgiveness? But because her reaction was kind of a little bit playful, she obviously likes and respects him, the way she's listening to him. And then when the people did not object to it, that was a no-brainer. That's automatically granted. And because there was no opposition filed before the hearing, he had strong grounds to think it was going to be approved. So go ahead. Facial expressions. The first look she has is of like, dude, I don't really like that you did this. So tell me why I should be okay with it. Now she has a little bit of a smile here. So that's a really good sign if you're him. She's kind of watching you, but she's also knowing that you're squirming a little, but she wants to hear what you have to say.
I was doing was motioning. When I do it in the Supreme Court and I go over the 30 pages, we have to file a contemporaneous request saying, could we have excess page number? So I did that.
What if they say no?
Yeah, what if they say no? And I'm sure the appellate rules are different for the Supreme Court than they are for direct appeals to the district court.
And pages?
Look at him. He's like, oh, goodness. No, you can't do that. But watch how it becomes a little bit of kind of like a little bit of a banter back and forth. He's closing his eyes. This is not good.
I'm going to grant it.
But in Margaret Rudin, they actually said no. And I remember I had to cut back some. So yes, but that's the only time. And it was 120 pages.
How many did they allow you in that case?
I don't recall. Actually,
Jeez. Okay.
I don't recall, but
I'm assuming the state has no opposition.
No, I don't know.
I'm assuming the state has no opposition. So, now you have to give it to them because the people aren't objecting.
Only thing, that motion to admit, that stuff was all presented at the trial level, right?
no.
Motion to admit. Okay, so he wants to go outside the trial record and add new things. Now, this is where the people, my perspective, again, in California, I would have filed something to oppose on the record, in the court proceeding, not just make some verbal statement that may not actually get taken down, or it gets taken down, you don't really see it on the docket, whatever, but an actual written opposition that they're going outside the record. And I would have cited some case authority. Now it's just standing up and saying, yeah, we don't really like that. Now, again, this could be the way they do things in Nevada. I'm not a Nevadan attorney, but it's a risky move because anything that's unopposed is deemed approved, is presumed approved, especially in law and motion practice out here in California.
Part of it was, and I don't think the state has an objection to that part. I was concerned because the Supreme Court on Appeal said we have to make sure that the higher court, their court receives everything that was utilized below. So there was a video, body cam video that the state did. I did not know how to generate it so that this court would have it
Right about here.
It may not actually get taken down, or it gets taken down, you don't really see it on the docket, whatever. But an actual written opposition that they're going outside the record, and I would have cited some case authority. Now it's just standing up and saying, yeah, we don't really like that. Now, again, this could be the way they do things in Nevada. I'm not a Nevada attorney, but it's a risky move because anything that's unopposed is deemed approved, is presumed approved, especially in law and motion practice out here in California.
Part of it was, and I don't think the state has an objection to that part. I was concerned because the Supreme Court on appeal said we have to make sure that the higher court, their court receives everything that was utilized below. So there was a video, body cam video from the officer that the state admitted. I did not know how to generate it so that this court would have it. And I was concerned the state could possibly say that I didn't do anything to get the evidence before the court. So I just motioned the court to say, hey, could we please make sure that that's included? And I don't think the state has an objection as to that.
Anything he uses that was presented at trial, I have no objection to. Obviously, the other exhibits that he puts in, that was not anything that was presented at trial. We would have an objection to those exhibits.
And there were some that I have just included. So when the court asked me that, yes, there are exhibits that were not included in trial, they're not mentioned in trial. And so I am saying, could the court consider that? And so I think maybe
You weren't at the trial level.
I was
You
not.
weren't the attorney.
No, and we are raising ineffective assistance of counsel. And
Watch her facial expression on this. She knows Michael Mee. She's staring right at him. Watch her facial.
as well, so that would permit me
The judge is uncomfortable with this.
to go outside of the record. I may be filing something because he's in custody, a separate writ. The issue was already raised, but I may just raise it as a writ so that I can then explore.
Can you stop
issues.
it there?
I know.
Issues outside the record, at least in California, when you say your attorney was. Can you guys hear me? All right, go ahead. Can you hear me? Uh-oh.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, man.
All right, so you take a look at the judge's body language and the eye position. Okay, yeah. Go right back to that part where she's staring right at Orem. That is a stare of intense concentration.
Man.
And we are raising
You
ineffective.
notice too that her hand is across her neck.
Yeah.
This is like a comforting position she's taking. Her body language, it's self-protective right now. She does not like what she's hearing.
Yeah, defensive.
Watch her facial expression on this. She knows Michael Mee. She's staring right at him. Watch her facial expression.
As well, so that would permit me.
The judge is uncomfortable with this.
To go outside of the record. I may be filing something because he is in custody, a separate writ. The issue was already raised, but I may just raise it as a writ so that I can then explore issues outside of the record. But I know
issues outside the record, at least in California, when you say your attorney was incompetent or committed malpractice, the attorney has the right to defend himself.
I know that Mr. Chen objects to the exhibits that were not admitted, and there were a few that I requested.
Now, this is very dangerous lawyering on behalf of the people. When attorneys start speaking in vague platitudes, well, yeah, there are exhibits that were not. No, now you got to really call them out. Say, all right, since I assume that there's a recorder here because it's a criminal case, it's like, no, exhibits X, Y, and Z were not admitted at trial. Those are the exhibits I'm talking about. I would not allow him to speak in generalities because when you look at the record later, the record is not clear.
You're going to ask the court to consider.
Yes.
So it's a direct appeal and I guess post-conviction?
Yes.
Mr. Chen?
I don't know if procedurally it was absolutely correct, but at the end of the day, I'm allowing Mr. Arnold to file what he wants to file in this appeal. So whether it's the direct appeal and treating it as a petition, if the court wants to construe it as a petition, that's totally fine with the state. We'll just respond to it on the merits.
And that probably will save some trees, because I was gonna, having heard some of the state's concerns, I thought about filing a separate writ, but if we can, I may refile it just with the form, because I'm concerned that on a.
The judge's facial expressions are telling. She's trying to facilitate less paperwork. All judges are in favor of that. But I think she has a little bit of a doubt about procedurally how this is going down.
Appeal the Supreme Court, if there was an appeal, the Supreme Court could say this wasn't properly preserved. So I may do that, but it wouldn't slow anything down, because I'm not going to raise anything that has not been raised already.
All right. That's a double negative. So be careful with double negatives.
Okay, so it's granted, you clear the order on these. Now, I think July 10th, right? Everyone's on track to meet that date.
Yes, sure. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
Love her voice. All right. So a few thoughts here. The appellate brief, that's what we're calling it.
Sorry.
I think she's read it. Okay. When you look at what's in her hand, it's rather thick amount of paperwork, and she would have the appellate brief in front of her because she might have to ask questions about it, or not substantive issues like, what did you mean by this section? But she wants to familiarize herself with it. That's what judges do. They'll familiarize themselves with the papers. By granting the extra page limits and the people not objecting to it, it may be that she's looking down the road and has already made her decision, at least initially, on this case, which is this appeal is dead on arrival. So she asks about potentially striking it just for the interest of fairness, just to see what the reaction would be. But when the people say that it's not a problem, it's not objected to, then you green light it, because it could very well be, and I don't know, this is pure speculation on my part, and she's looked at this and said, no, I don't think this appeal is going to win, and I don't think you've persuaded me, but, you know, I'll make that decision at a later date, but my first read of this is no. And if you're the people, you're looking at the brief thinking this is not going to win. So let it go through, but I don't know that. I'm just guessing. But it looks to me like she's already read this thing, and it doesn't matter to her. It could be 50 pages. It's still not a winner. We'll see.
Well. Oh. Thanks, Nutty. Nice.
Hi, Dad.
So did your dad, Pat, did he work at the title insurance, the big building in Los Angeles that's downtown?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, he taught me everything I know about real estate. I got when I got out of college, I couldn't really find a job I liked. I was a biochemistry major at UCLA, and that was a disaster. I thought I was going to be a doctor. The problem was that I had a really great, I don't know. I was too interested in video games, and then I had a girl that just broke my heart, and then I didn't really want to study 20 hours a day anymore. So biochemistry was out, even though I could still kind of remember it. Tell you what, here's a test. The far right column of the periodic table is all the inert elements, argon, krypton, xenon, and they're inert because you cannot add electrons to them. So I probably could do well in that subject. But anyway, I went to Cal State Northridge, and then I got a business degree, and then I thought, okay, what am I going to do? And my dad says, hey, you know what? You grew up with me in the title insurance business. So I basically rode his coattails because I learned so much from him. It helped me, catapult my career in title insurance, and that led to me becoming a real estate lawyer. But he worked in pretty much every main building in downtown LA. He was one of the original OGs when it came to searching title. Back then, they actually searched it by hand by looking in books based on the name of a person. You had to be an expert. So if they gave you the name of Chris Smith and an address, you had to find the properties that Chris Smith owned, even though that was a very common name, and he was an expert at it. He was an incredibly smart man.
Yeah. And if you guys have never seen the Title building downtown LA, it's pretty cool. Very old deco-ish type of building. Welcome back, Ram. Where you been? Yeah, great video, Pat.
My internet. Did you get to watch that whole video?
Yes.
Because I have it where I left off. Okay.
Oh no, yeah, we already blazed through it. So
yeah, my fine $160 a month internet service doing me justice again.
Nice. Well, we've had a few little technicalities tonight.
Technical
difficulties.
All right, let me I'll get the other stuff loaded up. I'll let you know when I have it all back up again.
Okay. Well, the only other thing we were gonna watch, I think, was the Chili phone call, his daily jail report. I don't know if that's something that you're interested in, City
Patrick. I'll pull it up.
They're all pretty outlandish, and I don't believe it contained an apology to you either, sir. So
he did another telephone call other than the infamous one?
Oh yeah, there's a new one that came out. It was like a 3-day span, something like May 20th to 23rd, 24th.
Well, does it make reference to me?
I don't think so. Like I said, I know I watched it earlier, but I've completely forgotten what the hell the contents were. So I'll put it up if you want to. If you have anything you want to say.
There it is. I just put it up for you.
Hang on. I have it here on this end here, just so I can.
I deal with much harder things at work every day, so let's just listen to it.
Sure.
I do find his voice really annoying, though, to be honest with you.
20th, 2024.
Agreed.
My name is Chili DeCastro. I'm a journalist who's been wrongfully imprisoned in Clark County Detention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. It was a kangaroo court from the beginning. I had a biased and unprincipled judge who sentenced me to 6 months in jail for obstruction and resisting. The research we've done has shown that in the past 5 years in that same courtroom with that same judge, she's put nobody in jail for obstruction. In the 4 cases that went to trial, none of those people were sentenced to jail. They were all given anger management, impulse training, and then the misdemeanor fell off their record.
And I like to point out, Chili could have walked away from all this because that's basically what they offered him, like a fine and anger management classes. So
I mean, I was blown away that even by taking him to trial like they did, the prosecution didn't want to put him in actual jail. I mean, normally if you put someone into trouble preparing for trial, they're looking at real jail time. So I thought that was a really weak offer by the DA. And the judge looked at the Agnes, the prosecutor, with almost like, you got to be kidding me. And that really was a legit reaction from a judge, because you've just burdened the court and everybody with this trial. Now, it was a very fast trial, but normally you get jail time when you go to trial.
Huh. All right.
So what's happening in our country right now, and we're seeing in the newspapers, we're seeing that censorship is becoming the way of this government. And what's happening right now is history is repeating itself. If we go back to the year 1917, Woodrow Wilson
Comments are funny.
And it's a real shame that he became president at all whatsoever.
Yeah, he just goes off on, this is completely unrelated to anything, but he's trying to, I don't know. I think this is part, just look at me, I'm a smarty pants kind of behavior.
Just real quick, again, I'm interrupting, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
What he does is, it's like that person that keeps talking, and you could just put the phone down, go get some milk, get something to eat, come back, and they're still talking. You just pick up the phone and resume again with That's kind of what this is like.
That is exactly what it's like.
Theodore Roosevelt and William Howard Taft ran against each other, and they were both the Republican representatives. And then they split the vote. They got 7.5 million votes, and Woodrow Wilson got 6 million. If they had not ran against each other, then most likely Theodore Roosevelt would have been president because he got more votes than William Howard Taft. However, when Woodrow Wilson got in, he was an authoritarian, total demigod. And in 1917, he encouraged Congress to pass what was called the Espionage Act. And so in 1917, Woodrow Wilson encouraged Congress to pass the Espionage Act. And the Espionage Act said that if you say anything that's against the government or against the military, then you can be sentenced to jail for 10 years and fined $20,000. And then in 1918, he encouraged the government to pass the Sedition Act, which limited what you could put in the mail as far as petitioning to the general public or petitioning to the government. And he gave the Postmaster General the right to simply throw away your mailing. So then what happens in 1918, Eugene Debs, who had ran on the socialist ticket in 1900, 1904, 1908, and 1912, every single election, Eugene Debs, who was a socialist and a communist, which I don't agree with, but he has the right to run. He has the right to be heard. In 1900, I think he got like 100,000 votes when he ran against McKinley. And then in 1904, when he ran against Theodore Roosevelt, he got a couple 100,000 votes. And then in 1908, when he ran against William Howard Taft, he got 400,000 votes or something like that. And then in 1912, when he ran against Woodrow Wilson, he almost got 1 million votes. And then Woodrow Wilson gets into office, and he passes those two acts back to back, 1917 and 1918, the Espionage Act of 1917, the Sedition Act of 1918. Later in the year, in 1918, when Eugene Debs gives a speech that's anti-war, he's arrested and sentenced to 10 years in prison for giving a speech that's anti-war. What are we seeing in today's world? They now are making it, and both House and Senate voted on a bill that makes it a criminal act to say those words on a college campus. We are repeating history. That's what's happening right now in our country. They're repeating history. The government is censoring words you can say because they don't like them. And we have to stand up against that. You have a First Amendment right enshrined in the Constitution, enshrined in the Bill of Rights, that has been there since 1793. You have the right to petition the government. You have the right to say words you want to say, as long as you're not threatening somebody else with harm. You can petition the government anytime you want. As long as you're not sending out threats, then you can send any petition you want. The petition should be clean. The petition should be fair. The petition should be honest. You should be redressing government through petition. I'm in a dungeon for film.
I love the animation in the.
And you know, he's using the most useless word in the English dictionary, one of them, and it's should. What does should even mean, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I'm going to switch over to my phone because I got to get back in the car. So I'm going to log off out of my office, and I'll be in my car, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Because the lady judge was married to a cop. Her last name is still the name of Lieutenant Zimmerman. I'm allowed to say these things. I'm pointing out absolute facts. You have a right to petition that body.
Yeah, you're allowed to mention them, but to what end? I mean, what? This is right. So stupid.
Judge and redress her and tell her that what she's done is unjust and wrong. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can do that. Now, I'm paying the price for it right now.
Dear Judge, you're a big meanie. Signed, a Chili fan. I'll try and ask Pat your question if we get him back. Liz, by the way, I was trying to highlight that. So if he comes back, drop that in the comments again so I can, because now I've completely lost it. Sorry. Truth in Astronomy for $5. Does Chile not know that those boats? Yeah, they were repealed like almost immediately. It's just like, and it does again. None of this rambling shit, historically accurate or no. It's it doesn't have anything to do with him being in the situation he's in. I don't know what he's. I mean, he just won't let it go. He gets a hold of a idea and he just won't let it go. And shit, I think I missed your chat from earlier. Good citizen for $9.99. Love Debian Ram. Thank you. Grand juries are crap. Well, we can ask Pat if they are indeed crap, because I wouldn't know. Thank you. Sorry for all the technical stuff tonight, guys. It's kind of weird. Marshall Payson gifted 10 Dickbag Patrol memberships. Thank you. And Diamond Draco has been a member for 2 months. And Navy Tex has been a member for a month. Appreciate all of you guys. We're going to try and do like an all Navy live stream one night with Navy Tex. Hopefully Jam and Jet and Navy Girl. That'd be fun. But in meantime, let's get back to let me catch Sandy's here real quick. Chili is just trying to make a martyr out of himself. Yeah, absolutely. So he is attaching himself to anyone and anything that would give that credit. Sandy for $5. Yeah, absolutely. Everything he does, all these phone calls are just like one big ad for himself.
I'm a martyr to the cause of the First Amendment to have freedom of press. Jail for obstruction.
Literally, he just said it right there himself.
In the 4 cases that went to trial, none of those people were sentenced to jail. They were all given anger management, impulse training, and then the misdemeanor fell off their record. So what's happening in our country right now, and we're seeing in the news.
Oh, yeah, and Shuggy, too. Sorry, mate. Shipmate.
Papers. We're seeing that censorship is becoming the way of this government. And what's happening right now is history is repeating itself. If we go back to the year 1917, Woodrow Wilson has become president. And it's a real shame that he became president at all whatsoever. Because what happened in 1912, Theodore Roosevelt and William Howard Taft ran against each other, and they were both the Republican representatives. And then they split the vote. They got 7.5 million votes, and Woodrow Wilson got 6 million. If they had not ran against each other, most likely Theodore Roosevelt would have been president because he got more votes than William Howard Taft. However, when Woodrow Wilson got in, he was an authoritarian, total demagogue. And in 1917, he encouraged Congress to pass what was called the Espionage Act. And so in 1917, Woodrow Wilson encouraged Congress to pass the Espionage Act. And the Espionage Act said that if you say anything that's against the government or against the military, then you can be sentenced to jail for 10 years and fined $20,000.
Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you okay. We're hearing a little bit of a ding from your car.
Yeah, I just plugged my seatbelt in.
Oh,
That was my
okay,
seatbelt.
gotcha. All right. Well, make sure your hands free. We don't want to pull a Chili.
Yeah, I don't have headphones on either.
Well, it's coming over your speaker. I mean, you're driving in a safe manner is what I'm getting at.
Oh, no, I was making a joke. I don't wear headphones.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a Chili joke. It went right over my head. Beautiful. Didn't he already cover this, by the way? Whatever he's yammering about? The Sedition Act?
And then in 1918, he encouraged the
You just ask yourself this. This would be a 352 objection in trial, which is irrelevant, time-consuming, wasteful evidence. I would look at the judge, say, objection, Your Honor, 352. I thought this was an obstruction case. Sustained, just like that.
Wow. Yep. And they say you're anti-Chili.
No, I'm pro-Chili. Like I said, some places have really great chili. And so as far as him, I'm neither for nor against the guy. I really am not. I mean,
yeah,
you know, he thinks too much of himself. He thinks I think about him like that. I really don't.
Yeah.
Government to pass the Sedition Act, which limited what you could put in the mail as far as petitioning to the general public or petitioning to the government. And he gave the Postmaster General the right to simply throw away your mailing. So then what happens in 1918, Eugene Debs, who had ran on the socialist ticket in 1900, 1904, 1908, and 1912, every single election, Eugene Debs, who was a socialist and a communist, which I don't agree with, has the right to run. He has the right to be heard. In 1900, I think he got like 100,000 votes when he ran against McKinley. And then in 1904, when he ran against Theodore Roosevelt, he got a couple 100,000 votes. And then in 1908, when he ran against William Howard Taft, he got 400,000 votes or something like that. And then in 1912, when he ran against Woodrow Wilson, he almost got 1 million votes. And then Woodrow Wilson gets into office, and he passes those two acts back to back, 1917 and 1918. The Espionage Act of 1917, the Sedition Act of 1918. Later in the year, in 1918, when Eugene Debs gives a speech that's anti-war, he's arrested and sentenced to 10 years in prison for giving a speech that's anti-war.
I know. I'm sorry, everybody. I downloaded this, so I can't speed him up. Yeah. Sorry. I know it's cheap, isn't it?
In today's world, they now are making it, and both House and Senate voted on a bill that makes it a criminal act to say those words on a college campus. We are repeating history. That's what's happening right now in our country. They're repeating history. The government is censoring words you can say because they don't like them. And we have to stand up against that. You have a First Amendment right enshrined in the Constitution, enshrined in the Bill of Rights, that has been there since 1793. You have the right to petition the government. You have the right to say words you want to say as long as you're not threatening somebody else with harm. You can petition the government anytime you want, as long as you're not sending out threats.
Could we all petition Chili to stop making these phone calls?
Yeah, I have a First Amendment right not to listen to him.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
And you can send any petition you want. The petition should be clean. The petition should be fair. The petition should be honest. You should be redressing government through petition. I'm in a dungeon for filming cops because the lady judge.
That animation. I know you can't see that. Animated. Somebody's writing out a little animated petition. Dear Judge Zimmerman. That's really funny.
Was married to a cop. Her last name is still the name of Lieutenant Zimmerman. I'm allowed to say these things. I'm pointing out
and the
absolute
envelope.
facts. You have a right to petition that biased and unprincipled judge and redress her and tell her that what she's done is unjust and wrong. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I'm just saying his editing team seems highly motivated. I don't know what kind of pay or benefit package they get, but the guy's making a whole thing out of this.
You can do that. Now, I'm paying the price for it right
And there's
now.
also something
I'm a
else,
martyr
too.
to the cause of the
What's that?
None of this
What's
is in
that?
the trial record, so it's all irrelevant. None of this is in the trial record, so it's all irrelevant for the purposes of the appeal. What a way to burn up pages for nothing.
Yep.
First Amendment to have freedom of press. We have the right to film cops. They made a vague and capricious NRS code 192.190 that is so vague and so wide open that you can charge anybody with obstruction anytime you want. I have 50 more days in this dungeon until my appeal is heard. And you're allowed to petition that judge as well and say that she should immediately release me from jail and that this case should be overturned on appeal. You are allowed to petition the court. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not. It is not true. I'm leading in the...
Well, that's debatable. Texas Mad Dog, someone for $5. Someone please tell me, how does this clown actually have followers who listen to this crap? You know, elephant in the room. There's a lot of low wattage individuals out there that are just ready to buy into snake oil type of stuff. I mean, that's a sad fact. Otherwise, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's what it is. Oh, man.
proper way. Make sure that your petition is immaculate, that it's clean, that it's concise, that you identify yourself. Here's my name, here's my address. I'm writing a petition on behalf of Chili Castro. He should not be in jail. He should have been put in jail. He should be released from jail. His case should be overturned on appeal. That's your petition, and there's nothing wrong with that. We are repeating history right now. We're doing the exact same thing that we did in 1917 and 1918 when Theodore Roosevelt and William Howard Taft split the vote, and
Have a good night, Gia.
then we got somebody in office that nobody wanted. 6 million people voted for Woodrow Wilson. 7.5 million people voted for Taft and Roosevelt. Roosevelt was one of the best leaders. Theodore Roosevelt was one of the best presidents we had in U.S. history.
Do you think this is all going to be part of the Constitutional Law Scholar board game?
It's boring the hell out of me, and it's hard listening to this. And
Yeah.
just I know you're playing the call. I know you're playing the call, but can you imagine being in a room where this kind of information is being thrown at you? It's like reading the side of a cereal box. It's like what does this have to do with anything?
Yeah.
But hey, he thinks in his mind he's made a connection between his arrest and conviction and what happened upwards of over 100 years ago. And I don't see the parallel at all. And it wasn't raised at trial, so it's not part of the appellate record. So then you'd have to make some artful legal arguments to link them together, which wasn't in the appellate brief anyway. So, it's not like it's advancing anything for him.
Yeah. It's a big so what?
Did an amazing job. But remember, they didn't ever plan on Theodore Roosevelt becoming president. When William McKinley is reelected in 1900 after he was elected in 1896, in 1900, when William McKinley was reelected, he was shot and killed 6 months into the presidency. He had picked up Theodore Roosevelt as his running mate because they split the ticket so that North and South would vote for different people. When Theodore Roosevelt got into office, the big business people hated it. They hated it. It's crazy because Theodore Roosevelt and Franklin Delano Roosevelt are both related 30 years apart in the presidency. But I'll tell you what, Theodore Roosevelt and Franklin Delano Roosevelt, we have, they were for the people. They were for workers. They were. You remember, we had the Lochner era from 1897 till 1937. The Lochner
Okay,
era.
class.
Yeah. He's so condescending too. It's just like, but I wonder how many signatures we could get on a petition to have Chile just be quiet.
Well, here's something to think about. If his logic is true, and I'm using logic in quotation marks, so be like Dr. Evil, logic, and do the finger thing like when he talks to Scott, right?
Right.
His son, he talks down to Scott. If the logic is, and in quotation marks,
yes,
that the more so-called petitions you hit the judge with, the greater the likelihood of him being released. So let's just test that assumption. First, Judge Zimmerman doesn't have the case anymore, so it doesn't have any effect on her. Second, there is no statute that she can invoke that would allow her to do this. So she doesn't have the authority to do it. So therefore, it's a wasted exercise. Third, according to him, the more of a show of support by his followers, the greater the likelihood of him getting released. That's why he wants, I think he said up to 1 million. So let's test that. If you got 5 million people, hypothetically, I'm not telling anyone to do this, to send this so-called nonsense to the judge, and it outweighs the releasing him from 5 to 1, then by extension, the judge should give him more time.
Yep.
And this is mob rule. This is not. We have statutes for a reason. They're supposed to be followed, and what he's asking is completely off the rails. So go ahead.
Yep. Greg has been a member. Greg Johnick has been a member for 1 month. Thanks, Greg. We had a new member in Justin. Welcome aboard. And we've been expecting you. And also, Freedom Fighter has been a member for 1 month. Freedom Fighter, Donald Atwater, Cameron. All right, let's go.
It actually goes back to 1896. And I think that it's going to be Santa Barbara versus Railroad Company case, where they said the 14th Amendment applies to corporations. It's just so ridiculous. So they took that holding of the 14th Amendment is the same as corporations it is for people, that they have equal protection under the law, and they abused it from 1897 to 1937. The only way the Lochner era ended is when Franklin Delano Roosevelt got to office and passed the New Deal. Now, you may not agree with parts of the New Deal, but he broke up the monopoly of having absolute power over workers because he instituted an 8-hour workday for federal employees, and then that spread to other employees. And then I believe it was U.S. Steel Company was the first company that had to recognize that they had a union. And now what do we have unions for in our country? The most powerful unions in our country now are government unions, the police unions, the postal workers unions, but
Next, we're
regular
gonna
unions for regular people?
find
They don't
out where
exist.
Jimmy Hoffa
They're
is.
not anywhere.
Yeah,
Where
I know,
should
right?
the number one union be right now? In the
This
USA,
is like the
UFC
worst
fighters
version
have
of
a union because they don't have a collective
Oh,
bargaining
it's like
agreement like
taking
the
a ninth
NBA
grade
and
American
MLB.
history crash
yeah,
course.
it's like a really bad Forrest Gump situation.
And they should have a collective bargaining agreement. So the government has continued to strip away and usurp power from the people, using everything they can to hurt us and work against our Bill of Rights. And so that's where we are right now. That's what I'm in right now. I'm in this horrible dungeon right now, and I'm dealing with this crap because I stood on my First Amendment rights, and now I'm in a dungeon. So I literally
Don't pee in the pooper.
for the cause of our First Amendment right to be pressed. Tomorrow, on May 23rd, 2024, we have a hearing in the district court. The hearing is about an enlargement of pages for the motion that Chris Oram filed. When you file a appeal brief, it's supposed to be 10 pages. This appeal brief that we filed is 29 pages. So immediately upon filing the brief, Chris Oram filed to have a motion heard about it. Now, as of this moment, the district attorney's office has not opposed the enlargement of pages. So it looks like tomorrow's motion hearing should...
Is enlargement page is a legal term? Sounds pretty official to me. Welcome, VJ Bird. New member. Oh God, this one's dragged out. Sorry, guys.
It goes smoothly. I will be in court tomorrow. I know the cameras will be there, so it's always a lot of pressure when they bring you into a courtroom in chains. It is a humiliating, despicable process we are still using.
It would not be a chili call without some torture cuff action.
From slavery era, where they chain you up as though you are
and slavery.
Some sort of homicidal killer. All they would have to do is move the bailiff station between the judge and the defendant to ensure the safety of the judge and the jury. That's all that they would have to do. But instead of that, they put us all in torture cuffs. The process of going to the hearing tomorrow, of going to that hearing, going through the appeal motion hearing tomorrow is going to be absolutely horrible for me. I'll get up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. They put
Except
me in chains. They take me down to a holding cell where there's 80 men in a room that's supposed to hold 40. Everybody's extraordinarily loud and everybody's chained up from head to toe. It's going to be a miserable process for me. It's absolutely the height of a
Oh, and he may got a break today. Didn't even have to show up.
Despotic government when you put everybody in chains like we're all Kunta Kinte from 1850. I feel like the fugitives.
Holy cow! There's the crazy. There's the crazy.
Whoa! What?
Now the wow.
Kunta
Just what I
Kinte.
thought- Wow! Just
yeah, just when you thought.
Wait a minute, can you replay that again?
oh my god!
Holy moly.
Morning, they put me in chains. They take me down to a holding cell where there's 80 men in a room that's supposed to hold 40. Everybody's extraordinarily loud and everybody's chained up from head to toe. It's going to be a miserable process for me. It's absolutely the height of a despotic government when you put everybody in chains like we're all Kunta Kinte from 1850.
Wow.
I feel like the Fugitive Slave Act is right back into motion today. So that's just the update of what's going on in the legal proceedings. I cannot be released tomorrow. There's no chance the judge will release me tomorrow. The earliest date I can be released from this dungeon is July 10th, 2024. The I want to say thank you to everybody who sent me eye care gifts. There's eyecaregifts.com.
Wow.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Everybody who's contributed or donated to my GoFundMes, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. It means the world to me.
Yeah.
You guys covered 90% of my legal costs. I really appreciate it. Today is May 22nd, 2024. This is Chili DeCastro. This is my daily journalistic update from the dungeon, Clark County Detention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. I love you. I'll see you guys on the next one. Later, Gators.
Wow, that was a whole lot of boring. And then wham, he hit you right in the face with a crazy pie. That was
Right, Richard. Thank you.
holy cow. I mean, yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I guess I should have expected something like that at this point, but he never fails to surprise me.
But welcome back, Richard. Richard AT, $20. He says, "Hey, DP and Ram, been out of touch for a while. Wanted to show my support. Keep it up. Thank you, buddy. Really greatly appreciated."
Yes, Richard.
And I do notice when you're around. He's
Yep,
good in the
yep.
comments too.
And for $2, Draco said he memorized the script better than Power Rangers. You know, I think he actually probably would have been fine on the Power Rangers show. I mean, it's not exactly Shakespeare, is it? But yeah, no, that's another thing he kind of screwed himself on that deal too. Talk too much. That's the guy's problem. Well, one of them. He just can't
Hey, guys,
stop talking. Yeah.
Sorry, I got to run. I got to jump off. But thanks again for letting me.
You bet.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Patrick.
Patrick.
Yes.
Very much appreciate it. You guys have a
Yeah.
good night.
Likewise.
You have a good.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, it's good to have him here.
Absolutely.
Now, I remember what the other bit of chili stuff was, which was Brian from Here's the Deal and somebody else did a live stream, or no, he put it on
Eline,
his-
wasn't it?
No. It was and if anybody knows, let me know, because whether it was on Here's the Deal's channel or the other guy, or if you know the other guy's name. But apparently not only has what's the guy from Here's the Deal's name? Mike something?
Brian.
Okay.
Brian.
So he and this other guy, oh man, it was on Jim Finch played it. Wow. I'm really off the ball.
Are you talking about yesterday?
No, I'm talking about, I think it was earlier today. Hang on a second. Anyway, they were basically, not only is Brian moved away from Chili, he's like actively talking shit about him, I guess. So I had wanted to
Smart move.
go through that video. But now
It's not on his channel.
yeah. And does anybody know the
Well,
situation?
He's got one titled "Chili's Massive Mistake" 2 days ago.
Maybe
this
that's
is
it.
I think this is
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up.
you
let me
guys
pull
feel
it up
like
and you look
watching
at it
this?
and see if that's it.
I'm sorry I dragged you dragged you along for that painful experience of me
I think, is that the guy? This is it, right?
dealing with my donkey brains. Put it up. Let's see. You guys feel like watching this? Why not? I can go for another minute or two.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You want to set it up or something?
No.
But benefits and privileges. As soon as they got to stand on something and deal with sacrifice and consequences, bring in the male to do the talking for me. No from any strata of life and society. Nobody's respecting that. You can't ignore that. I don't care if you like me or not. That's common sense.
I want to give you a chance to respond to Harry Atkins. He said in the chat room, if Chili hadn't hired an attorney, the court could not have imprisoned him. True or false?
Potentially, to a certain degree. Yeah, because when you prove on record you're non-compos mentis and you call yourself a law scholar, they're really going to look at you as bad faith and dishonorable. And when you bring in a legal counsel, a legal society to speak for you, he's essentially working with them to manage your estate. The court of record procedure says, by definition, the attorney has a duty to the court no less than the duty to its client. That means you're hiring this motherfucker thinking he's going to defend you and get you out. No, he's an intermediary. He's there to mediate. He's there to get everybody to be satisfied as best as possible. So what's he going to do? Well, DeCastro, you got off at 180. They could have put you in jail for 2 years. It's a great deal. It's not, right? So, yeah, when you hire someone else to manage your estate, proving you're not the law scholar you claim you are, not only are they going to get jurisdiction to manage your estate, they're going to presume you'd be bad faith and dishonorable, just as I do and would. You think there's any difference between my apprehension and the woman sitting on the bench, whether she loves police and is married to one or not? She knows a dishonorable, bad faith motherfucker, especially if she's married to one. Come on, man. It ain't about her and them. It's about you. What do you got on record? How are you presenting? What are you standing on? That's the man is judged by his principles, first and foremost, in a human experience. All the rest of the shit's extras.
Basically, when you're hiring an attorney to appear before a judge in a court, you have abdicated your responsibility and you've turned the keys of your life over to another person.
Right. And that's the cornerstone of bad faith, dishonor, and lack of accountability, responsibility. You run around town filming police, yapping at the mouth, saying, I'm DeCastro, I'm an alpha male, I love getting arrested. Then you want to show up at court and let a motherfucker speak for you and cry? It don't go that way, bro. I don't care if it's court or not. In any venue, it don't go that way. If we meet at the local outlaw biker club, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to say you're running around town with the colors, claiming all this shit, and then when you show up here, you got a whole different energy, and you want to let another motherfucker attorney talk for you out in the street when you were making all that money. See? They got no problem running their mouth when there's nothing but benefits and privileges. As soon as they got to stand on something and deal with sacrifice and consequences, bring in the inauthentic corporate male to do the talking for me. Nobody respecting that. From any strata of life and society, nobody's respecting that. You can't ignore that. I don't care if you like me or not. That's common sense.
So when you're sitting in that courtroom, the answer is act as take responsibility for yourself, whatever actions they think.
Brian, keep the same energy. Keep that same energy. Either keep the energy you had in court on the sheet or keep the energy you had on the street in court. Don't switch up on everybody. Just be who and what you are and carry that over in every venue. Then you might get respect.
So there was a mixture.
Well, let's
stay with the Chili DeCastro thing.
Not
so there was a
taking
mixture
into account
there because
is
he basically
Chili
kept the same energy and then apologized for it when he called the cop a pig and gave the thumbs up to Zimmerman when she was saying
Chili is being Chili when he's doing all these things. That's the whole problem.
Yeah, sorry. I was on the other browser. Yeah, Brian's so wishy-washy right now. This really doesn't look good for him. Matter of fact, I think this looks like a video in preparation for me, because you take what he was doing 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and then 2 months ago. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, he's just it's like
Sarah
the weather.
Marie, 5 pounds. Did any of the people Chitler is waffling about have his criminal background? The whole being a cop, Zimmerman keeping her name is. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, he's free to do and say whatever he wants, like he says, but so what? Doesn't mean anything.
Somebody earlier in the chat, said, well, if he was married or if she was married to a cop, and she's now divorced from that cop. Doesn't that mean she hates cops?
Yeah, dude. It's meaningless. It's absolutely meaningless. Yeah, you're right, Nemo. The Brian Chili bromance is dead. For sure.
Yep, it is over with. Well, Brian's so wishy-washy. Just flying with the wind. And this Paul dude, I've seen him before. He's going to make some good points here, but he is obnoxious as hell.
Yeah.
You ready?
A little rough around the
And
edges.
that you hate all cops in the United States. So he was doing two things there. He was keeping the energy he had on the street, and because he hired the, as you say, inauthentic corporate male, he was walking in hypocrisy.
And the point is, that's not the energy for court, Brian. I don't know you.
Right, but is that right there, what I said?
Well, yeah, you're right. But the point is that's why I'm saying keep the same energy that you have at court that it wound up as in the street, because you got to humble yourself. The reality is, if you really ain't about it and you're not going to go in that court and say thug life like Tupac and go do your time, you're going to cry on the phone every day or cry at court, you got no business presenting like that in any venue because you're faking the funk. So be a little bit more humble, have some humility, understand the dynamic, apply yourself correctly, and then surrender the outcome in consequences and sacrifice. Because you know what comes with this. Bro, I told that motherfucker and all these guys years ago, you need to downsize and you need to live within your means. I see how you guys live. You ain't ready. Then when you want to have to go do a 180 that you didn't expect, that's obvious when you're shit, you know that time's going to come. You should be preparing for that. It shouldn't be a shock to you. You shouldn't be clawing and scrapping and scraping when the time comes. If I got to go do a 180 right now, you ain't going to hear me on the phone whining and crying. I'm doing sit-ups and push-ups and focusing on my conscious and awareness, faith practice, and bearing witness and testimony and doing ministry addicts and criminals who need me more than anybody inside of there, right? You set yourself up in your life to live within your means, to do what your life purpose is and surrender the rest. I'm not in debt. I don't have monthly bills. I could go away right now. I'll have land and everything I need when I come out and then some. That's living within your means and living in abundance. You folks are living by your own meanings and you're living in loss and lack and abandonment and fraud. It's not equity. It's not trust. It's not faith. And it's why you're going to continue to generate suffering for yourself and others here. And that's why I have to speak so loudly about it. I'm not going to let these motherfuckers convince other people to buy these fucking products and act like them and wind themselves up in a civil war or having to do prison time and then whining and crying and acting like they didn't know what's up. You want to do this walk, you do what's true and what's right, you understand the dynamic, you speak for yourself, you surrender the rest, and you don't cry about the outcome. The Christed being had to go to prison over and over again and be killed eventually for what's true and what's right. Why the
man,
a lot of ego, too much for my own good. If you're going to be arrogant and egotistical, you better have damn good results. So there's no reason for that.
So you don't have any bills, you don't have a water bill, electric bill, or you're completely 100% off grid?
At this point, yeah.
Do you grow your own? Where do you get your food?
I mean, well, that's the thing. I mean, at this point, you know, and you'll have folks say that I live off other people and all the rest of it. I'm staying with a woman right now, right? There's property back where I just came, everything I need and then some to get more property. I have the RV on that land, right? And I'm just at this point, you know, I was doing what I was doing and kind of preparing over there. And then I met a woman and, you know, the last year or so, I kind of been sharing space with her, you know, helping her to get out of debt. She's got a new piece of land now in the forest. You know, she's going to put a modular home on it and be debt free for the first time and live in paradise and grow on the land essentially. So, you know, kind of what I've been doing along with doing the broadcast every day, which of course, you know, has become a livelihood on some level. So, yeah, man, I mean, again, it's not about like folks not working or, you know, becoming a broadcaster and being able to live off that, you know, or staying with other people. It's like ultimately you dedicate yourself to whatever you do and whatever you work on, whatever your passion is in life or whatever your job is. But you just correct the status and standing, right? I don't get down on people for having an ethic and working hard. I have to do that to show up 500 days straight just to do a broadcast, even if it's not technically work. So we should work hard, we should save, we should reinvest, we should be financially free and secure, and also we should live within our means, right?
Yeah,
And also,
I would just say that a worker is worthy of his wages, which comes out of the pages of the New Testament. But if you are broadcasting
Okay.
the truth, if you're disseminating knowledge, and that knowledge is helping people, I would say that that's probably some of the most worthy work you could possibly do.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Bible references always make me nervous. Sarah Marie, I mean,
Right.
nothing against religion, but mixing it with public policy, I don't agree with whatsoever. Sarah Marie for £2. Finally, someone speaking some sense. I like him. Yeah, I don't know. This is my first exposure to him. He's energetic fellow, isn't he? So I'll have to.
He is.
I'll
He's
have to hear him.
He's probably a good rapper.
Yeah, I don't really no judgment on him quite yet myself. Justin for $5. It's good to see these two thrashing Chili. Maybe those $0 donation days are a message. We don't believe in you. Yeah.
I got a lot to say about Brian, though.
Well, this guy clearly on the right clearly doesn't have a problem speaking what he's thinking, right? Whether you agree with it or not. That's just obvious. Now,
he
Brian
makes some good point. He makes some good.
Yeah, he's, I can't argue with him on the Chili being fraudulent, in his, saying one thing and doing another.
He's a traveler. He's a traveler. That motorhome probably doesn't have a tag. He is what he is. He makes some good points.
I don't know anything beyond just what I'm hearing him say right here.
What I'm interested in is Brian, because 2 months ago, Brian was encouraging Chili.
Yeah. Encouraging Chili.
So,
I think you may have dropped off there at the end.
Encouraging.
Yeah, Scott, I've never heard of him.
I did.
I've never heard of this guy before.
So I'm
no,
wrong, huh?
you're here.
Okay. Oh, I thought you said
It sounded like you might have for a second, but it's fine. Everything's going wrong tonight.
We're having internet issues tonight. We're having weather issues in the area.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't. This is all I know of him is just what I've watched here so far.
Yeah, there's only a minute or so left, so
I'm trying to see
if
I'm trying to see what Brian's angle with this is. Just because he pushed Chili away pretty quickly after Pat released his video saying, this
immediately.
is a bad idea, etc. And then now this is just like.
He was promoting. He's
burning that bridge
to write letters and send them in.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna definitely be watching me some Here's the Deal later tonight. See if I can put something together on it.
Yeah, I don't know what his moral.
And I've seen that. I've seen that where in my life I've actually done better. I have a very low standard. I'm not college educated. I've pretty much done low level, blue collar, quote unquote, menial jobs all my life. For various times and places. But I'm probably doing now better when it comes to value than I ever had working, for other people in a system. And I attribute that to the law of the universe, which is trust, equity, and faith. If you do what's true and what's right, and you show up for yourself and others every day, and you give it your all, right, and you help make a change in others, you're guaranteed value back. I couldn't see it any other way. Right. So nowhere in there does it require us working with corporations. If anything, it requires us working with and on other folks.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, I don't know what his whole deal is, but whoa, okay. And I'm alone again, naturally. Well, that seems like a pretty good place to end it anyway. Let's bring Ram back up here. Yeah, we've got some crap internet tonight, buddy. Yeah. But
Well,
a
we've
good
had some
time
other
was had by all, and I don't know if we learned anything.
great time.
I feel it was time well spent.
You're right. You're right. Fraud or 420 faith is not a virtue.
Oh, Sarah Marie,
Yeah, this
for
is
2 pounds.
interesting.
I
It's
take it back. He's
interesting.
sponging off a woman. Yeah. Don't know. Like I said, I try not to. I guess you all, it seems like, are very familiar with this guy, and he's from what you're saying is he's kind of a goofball. So I'll, if I get a minute, I'll take a look at him. This may just be a one-off. Hopefully it is. I don't get the vibe that I would enjoy listening to him for too long.
It's not. I'm not interested in him because I've watched him before. Brian's the one I have an issue with.
Yeah.
What a wish.
Yeah, and again, I don't know a whole lot of them except for as related to the recent events with Chile. So, all right, gang, we really appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much. It's always fun. I started off.
Sorry for all the technical difficulties.
Yeah, I'm really sorry.
Out of my control.
Yeah. I will let you know about the Navy stream, Navy girl, and any other Navy folks out there. Yeah, just email me. It's on my about page. And
thank you, Linda, for doing a phenomenal job in the chats tonight.
That'll be fun. Yes. And I started off tonight feeling not super great, and now I feel a little bit better than not super great. So thanks. Yeah, definitely helped my mood, if nothing else. So much appreciated to y'all. And
I agree.
Anything final thoughts, Ram?
Nope. It was an interesting night in the chats early on. Linda did a great job with it, and there was a little bit of interference going there for a while, but it was all handled very diplomatically. And,
yeah, I tried to sneak off to the bathroom, and the second I do that, your internet goes out and poor Pat's
yeah.
Oh God, serves me right for
it. Did come back up right about the time I had them on the phone, because I get pissed when this happens. I pay a lot of money for my internet, and I was pissed off. And as soon as I got them on the phone, it came back. But of course, it always takes 5 minutes to reboot. But anyway, it happens. I was worried about it happening the other night with the storms and stuff going on. Anyway, it is what it is.
Can't sue Mother Nature.
You never know.
Thanks for joining up, Travis. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see you again. And pretty sure I'm not pregnant, but I will go double check Liz. Thank you.
There is a possibility.
It's slight, but there is always that possibility, right?
Okay. Well, no, I was going somewhere else with it, but that's okay. There is a possibility I might go live Saturday.
Okay. There's always, as I say,
just because it is the 25th. There's that possibility I may go live Saturday earlier in the evening.
Okay. Well, I don't. What the 25th? What significance does that?
Well, just what I was going to do the other night, but because Patrick showed up, I didn't take the channel there. We were just going to go back and relive 365 days earlier, the very first live stream, and how comical it was.
Oh yeah,
was.
Yes.
Nothing formal. If I do, it's just an informal deal. If somebody wants to show up and do it, I'm not looking to do anything except just maybe have a little bit of fun, maybe get a couple times, maybe a copyright strike or two, and then go to bed.
There it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take my advice. Yes. Like the old days. Ladies and gentlemen, take my advice. Pull down your pants and slide on the ice.
And don't buy land in the desert.